I logged into Star Citizen the other night with one clear objective: run a seismic data retrieval mission inside the ASD facilities. Nothing fancy, just a straightforward contract that thousands of other players can pull up on their MobiGlass. I wasn't streaming it, I was just playing because I couldn't sleep. I'm showing you my mission here in its entirety. I forgot to hit record until I got into the lobby of the facility, so I've added some B-roll of flying there for this exact mission. I'll fast forward through the transit parts, but there's no cuts. I'm not hiding anything in the footage. As I walked through my hangar and made my way toward my ship, I reminded myself of something very important. This isn't a game. Nope. There's no way I could climb into my fully modeled ship, start it up, and seamlessly fly off-world. Because after all, Star Citizen is just a tech demo, right? I was repeatedly told that Star Citizen isn't a game in the comments of my last video. If you followed Star Citizen, you've seen that repeated constantly in the darker corners of Reddit and YouTube comments. It's been repeated for so many years it's calcified into Star Citizen dogma. And yet, here I am, tapping the ramp controls and stepping into a working ship interior. I sit in the pilot's chair, fire up the engines, and watch the HUD blink to life. The screens, the displays, the ship systems, none of it counts, apparently. I spool the drive, take off from the pad, and cruise above an atmosphere so detailed that clouds scatter the sunlight while snow and mountains stretch out below me. But through this entire mission, I kept reminding myself, this isn't gameplay. This is a tech demo. My mission marker pulls me toward the ASD facility on a distant moon, a complex dug into the planet's surface. I bring the ship in low, checking my radar as I descend. Players still try to camp these. I should be cautious. It's not a game, but that doesn't mean that I want to get farmed. Dust kicks up around the ship as I land in the hangar. If you've seen my live streams, that was a pretty decent landing for me. I even remembered the landing gear this time. I double-checked my rifle, then set off to the facility's outer corridor. The mood is striking, the lighting, the shadows stretching across the walls, the distant sound of machinery. All of it was designed to immerse me in a believable environment. But again, this isn't a game and this immersion doesn't count, so don't get too excited. I'm cautious as I enter the research wing. Players love to camp corners, and that adds to the fun of it for me. But games are supposed to be fun. This is just a demo of the experiences I might have later. I keep thinking about the extraction shooter nature of this place. There's loot crates everywhere, some even with things I want, but to lock them in, I need to survive first. There's an NPC to my left, and I don't know if he's spotted me. An open door awaits ominously. NPCs can open doors with this patch, but so can players, so I should be cautious. I decide to start the fight anyway. I'm a little careless with my positioning, and I let some NPCs get good shots on me. Now, I'll admit it, my gunplay here is pretty poor, and I really will die if I keep allowing NPCs to flank me. Most of the time in here, if I let them surround me solo, I die. I'm reacting to threats, repositioning, swapping mags, and pressing forward toward my objective. And yet, the narrative insists this isn't real. It's just a buggy mess. I breach the data room, retrieve a server blade to start the seismic data retrieval process. The console sparks to life, progress bar ticking forward while I hold the perimeter. The mission completes, data secured, and I exfil with my ship waiting outside. Smooth, seamless, and damn satisfying. But don't forget, none of this is gameplay. At least that's what the YouTube comments keep telling me. And this is only one mission in a game that's so much deeper than this. It wasn't staged, that's just me playing. I'm sure all the casual Call of Duty pros will tell me how much I suck at it. Hell, I hit record for the B-roll and I had the game sound muted on the recording since my videos usually don't feature it. It would have really added something here. That's a huge miss on my part. Now, to be fair, the bugs are real. I've hit them. You've hit them. Everyone who's played Star Citizen for more than 10 minutes has run into something that makes you roll your eyes. Sometimes it's an elevator that doesn't work. There's been a bug for a few patches where if you store a ship with cargo on it, it will fuse itself to the grid and it's never coming off. Sometimes it's a ship that thinks land means flip over and explode or clip through the hangar floor. That stuff is in the game, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. But here's the thing. Bugs don't erase gameplay. They just interrupt it. When I completed this seismic data run start to finish, nothing broke. The mission fired, I retrieved the data, and I got paid. Some AI should have probably killed me when they flanked me, that's it. And the idea that one bug erases all of that? That's where the tech demo crowd loses the plot. Because if bugs alone disqualified a title from being a game, half the industry would vanish overnight. So when I hear Star Citizen is a buggy mess, it doesn't count. I laugh. I laugh because every game has rough edges. This one just happens to wear its rough edges in public while it grows. That doesn't make it any less of a game. It just makes it an alpha. A very polarizing, very well-funded alpha. And that right there is the absurdity. The idea that Star Citizen in 2025 can deliver an entire mission loop with combat, objectives, and payout, but still somehow doesn't count as a game. It's an old talking point that refuses to die, clung to like a security blanket by people who either gave up on the project years ago or never played it in the first place. They hold it to an impossibly high standard that no other game is forced to meet. If a feature exists, it doesn't count until it's polished to AAA perfection. If a system works, it's dismissed as temporary or meaningless. If a patch lands smoothly, it's ignored because the focus has to stay on what's still missing. It's a classic no true Scotsman routine, moving the goalposts again and again so the conclusion never changes. The funny thing is, if you applied that same logic to any other game, half the industry wouldn't qualify as real. No Man's Sky launched with missing features and shallow gameplay, yet it was still called a game. Cyberpunk 2077 crashed consoles, deleted saves, and spawned entire memes about its bugs, but nobody said it wasn't a game. Battlefield 2042 was a mess at launch, with modes broken and weapons unbalanced, but it was still treated like a game, just a bad one. Somehow, Star Citizen is the only title where "not finished yet" automatically translates to "not even a game." That's where the satire comes in. As I was running the seismic data mission, every moment screamed to me this is a video game. I was challenged, there was tension, and a sense of accomplishment. And yet, for a certain crowd, none of it matters. They've painted themselves into a corner where acknowledging progress would shatter the narrative they've clung to for years. So the only way to preserve their worldview is to insist that reality doesn't exist. I'm critical of the game when I think it needs it. I'm often calling out ship designs or systems that could definitely be improved. You need a balance of both to maintain credibility, and I choose my approach. Because it's honest, it's me. When I watch the discourse online, it's clear the tech demo dismissal isn't about honesty, it's about identity. There are people who have built their entire presence around hating Star Citizen. Some of them are still bitter ex-backers who cashed out and now want the project to fail so they can feel validated. Others just enjoy the spectacle of calling something a scam. But the longer this game grows, the more unhinged that dismissal becomes. Imagine watching someone mine or in a prospector, refine it, sell it for profit, then turn around and say, "Well, that doesn't count. It's not gameplay." You'd sound like a clown. And this is the part that fascinates me. There's almost a pathological refusal to give credit, even when the evidence is undeniable. When server meshing launched with 4.0, it wasn't celebrated as a breakthrough, it was dismissed as too limited, or too quiet, or not true server meshing. In the comments of my last video, there are people saying until they have dynamic server meshing, it's not the real thing. Wow. When Pyro finally came online, instead of acknowledging the scale, critics said, "Well, it's only one extra system. Wake me when it's 10. No matter what the milestone is, the bar shifts. Progress is only recognized if it can be spun into another complaint. And it's all about ignoring how much the vision has changed. People point to the Kickstarter and the goal that Star Citizen would launch with 100 star systems. CIG did say that. They said it before there was planetary tech, seamless game streaming, systems like Stanton with more landmass available than all video game maps ever made put together combined. Skyrim would fit in one of the craters of Yela. And as these ASD facilities show, they're populating the planets now. Last year's CitizenCon showed their plans for making the universe feel alive with thousands and thousands of POIs on each planetary body. Maybe you didn't believe it last year. The ASD facilities are showing it's actually possible. And look, I get it. Star Citizen's development history is long and messy. The scope is enormous. The delays have been frustrating, and the funding model puts a target on its back. But none of that changes the reality on the screen right now. I didn't imagine clearing out that facility. I didn't hallucinate retrieving seismic data and caching the payout. I didn't dream up the extraction shooter gameplay I just experienced. That happened. It's playable, it's repeatable, it's fun, and if the definition of a game is an interactive system where players engage in challenges and pursue goals, then Star Citizen more than qualifies. That's why I leaned into the sarcasm while running the mission, saying this isn't a game as I blast through corridors and complete objectives shines a light on how absurd the criticism really is. I'm not being malicious, it's just ironic, because if this doesn't count as gameplay, then nothing does. So why does this label survive? Why, after all the updates, all the new systems, and all the gameplay loops, does tech demo still get thrown around like it means something? The truth is simple. It's easier to repeat a dismissive slogan than to confront the reality that you might have been wrong. If someone spent the last 5 years insisting Star Citizen was never going to work, they can't just pivot overnight when it starts delivering. The sunk cost fallacy that gets thrown as a label on the backers of the game applies to haters' opinions too. The longer you've been holding the line, the harder it is to admit the line has shifted under your feet. That's why you'll see people pile into every patch discussion with the same recycled arguments. If the patch is stable, they'll say it doesn't matter because the content is shallow. If the content is deep, they'll say it doesn't matter because the servers are buggy. If the servers hold up, they'll say it doesn't matter because the game isn't finished. The goal isn't to measure progress, it's to maintain the illusion of stasis. It's a way of protecting their pride. Because the second you acknowledge that progress exists, you're forced to admit maybe you were wrong about the project. And for some people online, that's worse than death. I know, I've been on Reddit. And here's the kicker. The more the game grows, the dumber the tech demo dismissal looks. You can't sit there watching someone haul hundreds of SCU of cargo across 2 systems, selling at stations, and making profits, and with a straight face say, tech demo. You can't watch players running entire mining crews out of an Argo mole, stripping asteroids piece by piece, refining then selling the haul, and claim that's not gameplay. You can't look at a player-owned Idris acting as a mobile base for fighters and ground teams, docking ships, deploying vehicles, and call it a demo. It's delusion, and yet some people cling to it. Because the bar they've set isn't show me gameplay, it's show me perfection. No game is perfect, and no game launches with everything intact. But only Star Citizen has had to endure the constant refrain that it doesn't even count until it reaches some mythical finish line. Nothing is perfect. Star Citizen won't be either, ever. As a rational person, I don't expect it to be. That would be insane. The irony is that the people repeating tech demo aren't protecting consumers. As a few tried to imply in my comments, they're protecting their pride. They don't want to admit they walked away too soon, or that the game they mocked is now producing real, tangible fun. Because if they do, it undercuts their entire identity as a critic. And that's why the sarcasm lands so well. Running a mission, narrating every step as if it doesn't exist, is a mirror held up to the nonsense. It's showing, not telling. You can't argue with the footage, you can't debate the experience. You can only sit there and realize how hollow that old slogan sounds today. So here's where I land. Star Citizen is more than a pile of systems duct taped together. It's more than a roadmap that's always shifting, or a funding tracker people love to obsess over. What it actually is, right now, is a playable universe. It's got depth, it's got danger, it's got flaws. But above all, it's got promise. Calling it a game almost undersells it. We're finally at a point where you can see the finish line off in the distance, and at the same time you can log in and have fun today. That's a rare combination, and honestly it's wild. And if someone still wants to call that a tech demo in 2025, then maybe the problem isn't with the game. Think about it. If you made it this far, you're already part of the crew. So let's make it official, subscribe and join us. If you want to go further to support the channel, check out my Patreon, use the join button, or even grab something through the Impound with my referral. I'm not sponsored by or affiliated with CIG in any way at all. I'm sponsored by you. Your support is what lets me keep flying. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.